Boom! Hi! Hey, how are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? I'm Thundercloud. Here, at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. It's Chillin Tuesday. Yeah, you know my mum calls me James. Hey, I've just been setting up for the Poets on the Mountain Festival, which is currently running, and the New South Wales Bush Poetry Championship here this weekend, and the workshops Thursday and Friday as well. Yeah. Come on down, check it out, check out the program online. Hey, look, I'm going to do a different kind of poetry Chillin' Tuesday tonight, because frankly, I'm exhausted. I've been working for years, 3 years actually, to set up this place for the poets. And and all day today, getting ready for the Poets on the Mountain Festival. Yeah, and I can't wait to see all the poets here. Bill Kearns, Ray Assery, Robin Sykes, Tom McElveen. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. It really is. Hey, look behind me. I've got the Australian Poetry Library and Archive. And I figured, because I'm a little exhausted, couldn't be bothered getting out, and we actually had no time to pre-read and get books out, but I wanted to read poems. So I thought, I'll just be random tonight. So it's random, Chillin' Tuesday. So who knows where we'll go, what poems, what prose, what lyrics, on the nose. Well, let's start with something on the nose. We'll sit down there, grab a seat over here, make sure the camera's pointing in the right direction. And the one that I've pulled out, Robust, Ribald and Rude Verse, the Book of Australian Popular Rhymed Verse. And I have got one that I wrote quite a few years ago, and I have got a cup of chamomile tea. Well, I hope it doesn't put me to sleep, because it is late for me to be recording this. It's way past my bedtime. Hey, while I'm having that, why don't you just click on that like button, that thumbs up button, and leave a comment. Who would you like me to read out of this fantastic Australian and international poetry library that I've got here? All right, this was selected and annotated by Bill Wannan, published by Lansdowne Press in 1972, so it's 51 years old. I'm going to go random here. Ooh, we've got a very, very long poem here. There we go. So this one is by Charles Thatcher. Going to Shout. Air Maypole. I'm a green new chum, just lately come from England right out here, and the expressions in Australia, they seem devilishly queer. Whenever in the town I may be walking out, they say, "Old flick, now be a brick and come along and shout." The first time I was thus addressed, says I, "What do you mean?" Each winked his eye and looked so sly, because I was so green. To a public house we went, and I jolly soon found out, for they did me brown for half a crown, the price of that air shout. The moon shone bright the other night, as I walked down Great Burke Street, and there a gal named Sydney Sell I happened then to meet. Says she,
How are you, dear? Does your mother know you're out? I can see you're good-natured, so come along and shout. With Sydney to the National, I straight away did repair, and some other pals of the young gal were standing talking there. Says she unto the lot, what will you have? Speak out. So for a score of gals or more, I had, of course, to shout. Says she, my dear, come home with me to talk. Here isn't meat. And so we went into a house at the top of Stephen Street. A man then knocked me down, and my pockets he turned out, and threatened to dash out my brains if I once dared to shout. I laid there still, but felt quite ill. My head spun round and round, and my consciousness seemed going as I lay upon the ground. When I came again in the streets, I had been kicked out, and 'twas plain to see she'd hocussed me when first I stood the shout. My watch was gone, and tin I'd none. When I got home 'twas late, but being robbed was all my fault, so take warning by my fate. Of Sydney Sal beware when you are walking out, or perhaps like me, you'll find 'twill be a most expensive shout. Cheers. So that was Charles Thatcher, Going to Shout. All right, nice. All right, the next one that I've got out here, the popular book, the Book of Australian Popular Rhymed Verse. It's the ABC books. It's published by, edited by Jim Haynes. Published in 2008. All right, we're going to go random here. Random. Okay. Oh, Mary Gilmore. Now, it's so funny because just this evening before I was going to do a Mary Gilmore special, and no, and here it is. Okay. Mary Gilmore, if you don't know, is on one side of our blue $10 note, and on the other side is Banjo Patterson. It's the poet's note is $10, and if you want to donate $10, you're quite welcome to send $10 to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, and I'll leave the link to our PayPal. So you can pay via PayPal. It's safe and secure, of course. Down below, $10. It would help poets, help me preserve poetry. It would help to put on fantastic poetry events and make sure that everything's up to scratch and standard. Yeah. Married by Mary Gilmore. It's singing in and out and feeling full of grace, here and there, up and down and round about the place. It's rolling up your sleeves and whitening up the hearth and scrubbing out the floors and sweeping down the path. It's baking tarts and pies and shining up the knives and feeling like some days was worth 1,000 lives. It's watching out the door and watching by the gate and watching down the road and wondering why he's late. And feeling anxious like for fear there's something wrong and wondering why he's kept and why he takes so long. It's coming back inside and sitting down to spell, to sort of make believe you're thinking things as well. It's getting up again and wandering in and out and feeling wistful like not knowing what about, and flushing all at once and smiling just so sweet and feeling real proud the place is fresh and neat, and feeling awful glad like them that watch Salome and everything because a man is coming home. Married by Mary Gilmore. All right. Now, here I am in front of the Australian Poetry Library, and I've got a whole selection of poets here I could just randomly pull out. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go random. There we go. This one, Silvia Kantariziz. And I don't know much about Silvia. This was donated to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame by Jeff Doyle, poetry professor, and he bought it in 1977. And we're going to go random up, didn't I say that? Independent. Silvia Kantariziz, Time and Motion. And I'll have to look up a bit more about Silvia. We slept on Mother Earth that night, body to soul. And I, for one, felt it. Firmer than flesh and safer. A less precarious balance. For that night, I no longer needed you. I neither gave nor asked for a response. The earth was enough, hard, unfeeling, barren. But it lay still all night, never turned, nor complained, nor felt the weight of me, unbearable. I was a layer between the earth and stars, could lift a finger, touch, or blot them out. Independent by Silvia Kantariziz, Time and Motion, published by Prism Books in 1975. Published by New Poetry for the Poetry Society of Australia. There you go. Next one, where am I going? Random. Oh yes, okay, I've pulled out Robert Fitzgerald, one of our great poets of the 20th century. That's a Robert D. Fitzgerald. Of Places and Poetry. Published by University of Queensland Press, St Lucia, 1976. This one I paid $18 for. So it's cost a lot of money to put this Australian Poetry Library together, as well as all of those wonderful donations from people like Jeff Doyle, Chrissy in Ballarat, and all of the poets who have sent me copies of their books as well. All right, Robert D. Fitzgerald, let's of Places and Poetry. We're going to go random. Well, it's not even a, it's more a, it's about poetry. It's not much poetry of his in there. So I'm going to go up here and look for another one of his. Here we are. Moonlight Acre by Robert D. Fitzgerald, Melbourne University Press. This one cost $12. And just going to go random, aren't I? Didn't I say that? I'm going to go random. I'll tell you what year it was published in too. I can't even see what year it was published in, to tell you the truth. It was written for Wannan. Well, let's start at the beginning, page 1. It's called Moonlight, Acre. Poem 1. Moonlight, pierced by the pine's dark steeple, cries out for aid, denied to none. Put my armour on. Farewell, dear love, a while you held me, turned down your eyes that so compelled me. I must go back to my own people, the lonely stars, the forsaken sun. Well, that's lovely. I'm compelled to read on poem 2. Were it not that my own hand fixed the seal, not Caesar's hand, then could my hand prepare pleadings to blot the edict with repeal, which taught me exile and my heart despair. And friends near Caesar's throne should murmur there words eloquent of undeserved grace, while I had pen to prompt and prick their zeal, they would not forget me long in their high place. But Caesar now is a purse to mar or make. Fortunes of men is past all powers of kings, who have given up their sceptres, who forsake their royalty for death's dark offerings, and royalty itself gone like those kings from hearts and lives where once it chiefly reigned, and knightliness made stern the citadel. Poor exile too is outlawed and disdained, and these masters build of buy and sell, proud policy, the merchant and the clerk. Oh, brave King Harry's. Did we not do well to stab for freedom and miss the wide mark, so that our inmost honour now is gold, and bankers rule us all at odds with thieves, and humped attorneys have us in their hold, who press us dry between dead parchment leaves? I'll read on. Poem 3 of Moonlight, Acre. Dark trees beset the moonlight acre, spread like a cloth of silver strands, for the first corner, the first taker. Tom Tiddler's ground, and not one waker in those white lands. There was no outcry at their entry. What was the wind doing? Gagged and dumb. They have trussed him up, unwatchful sentry, and through the moon's unguarded country, silent they come. All right, Moonlight Acre by Robert D. Fitzgerald. So, Melbourne University Press. Yeah, fantastic. I wish I could tell you what year it was published. Might be in the back. I'll look it up, and if I can find it, I'll leave it in the description down below. All right, random book. There's an old looking one. The Fields of Amaranth and Other Poems by Clem Lack. 1936. It says here, with compliments, 30th of the 11th, 37. I think that was the same year as my piano over there was last June, to tell you the truth. Funny. 1937, yeah. The Fields of Amaranth and Other Poems by Clem Lack, published in Brisbane by Watson, Ferguson and Co, 1936. Got a bit of a cough. Not really. Just clearing my throat so I can read well. The Fields of Amaranth. This is to Furman McKinnon, and several of these poems had previously been published in the Brisbane Courier, the Courier Mail, the Sunday Mail and the Queenslander. Permission to reprint them has been granted by Queensland Newspapers Limited. That was 1937. Excuse me again. Righto. Well, we might as well begin with the title poem, The Fields of Amaranth. They went as kings in a pageant to the imminent death. That's the quote at the beginning. Cease fire! Then heaven smiled, and haggard men looked upward to the skies to glimpse the glory written there that death had holden from their eyes. Then anguished earth, with travail torn, seemed beautiful as meadowland. In spring and scarred and naked trees like lovely blooms, an angel's hand had planted there to hide obscene and monstrous things that breed in hell, hatched out by a diplomat's note with the whine of a bursting shell. Boom. This ransomed soil shall bloom with beauty evermore, their hallowed dust hath sanctified each shattered ridge, each riven slope, each blood-drenched crust of bare brown earth. Lo, from these fields of death the fruitful years shall reap, rich harvests for the sons of unborn time, and flowering buds shall keep their tender trysting with the sun-kissed dawn. The joyous lark shall sing his anthem o'er the tomb, and calm the clear angelus shall ring God's message to a world of peace, and time shall wipe away all tears and heal all wounds, and peace with brooding wings shall crown the everlasting years with blessings for mankind. Not in vain they died. 'Tis this honour. The tides of memory roll surging back, resistless in their power. To quench the leaping fires of man's ignoble greed, the petty dreams that sway the minds of selfish men, then, like a vision splendid, gleams across the marge of crumbling faiths that oriflamme of sacrifice that fired the souls of men who loved the sun and reeking not the price, gave that which none could buy, and went to the imminent death of kings. Oh, glorious gift of life to death, oh, love transcending earthly things. Oh, flower of courage that bloomed in the muck, oh, Amaranth sublime, that died unfading to its deathless end, sky reaching from the slime. Yeah, a poem in memory of those who died in World War One, which was supposed to be the war to end all wars. And look at me in some camouflage here. Says legacy down there. We had just the other day, the 11th Remembrance Day. So yes, let's we not forget those who sacrificed their lives at the whim of diplomat's pen. All right, another book. Let's get another read. Let's get another reader out. Let's go down to random one again. Get down. We're going down through the alphabet here. Where am I going to go? Over this way. Oh, what's this one? Oh, I like this one. This is cool. This is the book that is Ideals, Desires and Deceptions by Brent Newton, and it's got this beautiful piece of leather that binds it, goes all the way through there, all the way down the book, and all the way through the book. It's only printed on one page, and it's like it's been hand typed, or it was hand typed and then photocopied, or whatever they did back in the day. It was published by the Vorpal Gallery. What a cool name, eh? The Vorpal Gallery. I don't even know what Vorpal means, and I look it up, someone, and write it in the comments. Vorpal. Vorpal. Isn't that like a word in Lewis Carroll's The Jabberwocky? It is, I'm sure. Vorpal. Yeah. It's a word in Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time Maxime Foggy sought, so rested be by the tum-tum tree and stood in Uffy short. Yeah. And stood a while in thought, and as his Uffy short he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tulgey wood and burbling as it came. That's how it goes. Can you believe this book was it was for 50 cents, and I picked it up at a book sale, at a Rotary book sale. And this is number 100 of an edition of 250, and it's actually signed by Brent Newton, and it's here in the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame Gallery, archive, poetry library and archive. So there were only ever 200 of these. Somewhere along the way it got sold. It was originally sold for $1.50, then it got resold for 50 cents, and now it's here preserved, and this is copy, as it says over here, 100 of 250, signed by the poet himself. So this is the kind of transient stuff that I can preserve here for all people, to our cultural heritage legacy. This is what I'm doing it for. I work like 3.5 years to build this and to get this place up to scratch. So, and I'm like seriously a bit exhausted, but let's read poetry. Like, I'm not here to bitch and whinge. I'm here to like celebrate poets because they're fantastic. This one's called One Night. I don't know what it's about, but here we go. One night. 39, 40, 41. At last the door, under which a yellow light is combating the gloom. Upon entering, I see it, the remnants of the previous night, waist in waist, filled and bulging, forcing its attention on my unwilling eyes. I look through this across the bed, unmade and littered, almost disemboweled. My eyes to not see that mess. A small girl, curled like a kitten, with her frail body shaking with sorrow. I see she has been here for hours, and the crumpled pillow, which has felt it, knows the sorrow of my little girl, has felt the warm tears from her aching eyes. Her face too is crumpled. My heart has stopped beating, as I know she has died in my absence. Not physically, more painfully, an emotional death. I utter, my darling, and feel nothing but hurt and pain. Wow. Wow. So yeah, that's what happens, the results of infidelity. So let that poet's life be a lesson to you. Don't cheat on people. Unless you've got an agreement. Be open. All right, let's look for another poetry book over here. Look, I can get one of my own. No. Judith Wright. Wow. Here's a little Judith Wright book. Not a big one. The Moving Image, Judith Wright. This book originally belonged to someone called Marri'd. And I'll tell you a little bit about it, if I can find anything about it. The Moving Image. Time is a moving image of eternity. Plato. Judith Wright. Folios of Australian Poetry. The Meanjin Press, Melbourne. Have we got a date? Yes, we do. First published in 1946, reprinted in 1953, 1955, and this one, 1962. All right. So The Moving Image by Judith Wright. Now, The Moving Image is the first one, and then there's part one, and then there's part two. Which The Moving Image is quite a long poem right at the beginning. So I'm not going to read that one, I'm just going to go randomly. Oh, Bullocky, because I wanted to, although there's a sonnet here. Ooh, I love it when people have they annotate poems here, they've gone and annotated this one. Ooh, this one. Golly. Well, here we go. So, yeah, warning. I'll give you as a language warning, to tell you the truth, because of the words that are in it. It's also a concept warning. Yeah, it's a word that is called, the title of it. Where we put it in context with the year it was published, was in 1930, before. It's called Nigger's Leap, New England. The eastward spurs tip backward from the sun. Night runs an obscure tide round Cape and Bay, and beats with boats of cloud up from sea against this sheer and lime-lit granite head. Swallow the spine of range, be dark, O lonely air. Make a cold quilt across the bone and skull that screamed, falling in flesh from the lipped cliff, and then was silent, waiting for the flies. Here is the symbol and the climbing dark, a time for synthesis. Night buoys no warning over the rocks that wait our keels. No bells sound for her mariners. Now we must measure our days by nights, our tropics by their poles, love by its end, and all our speech by silence. See in these gulfs how small the light of home. Did we not know their blood channeled our rivers, and the black dust our crops ate was their dust? Oh, all men are one man at last. We should have known the night that tidied up the cliffs and hid them had the same question on its tongue for us. And there they lie that were ourselves writ strange. Never from earth again the Coolamon, or thin black children dancing like the shadows of saplings in the wind. Night lips the harsh scarp of the tableland and cools it granite. Night floods us suddenly as history that has sunk many islands in its good time. Powerful, powerful poem. Speaking of, Judith Wright. Oh, here we go. What have I got for you next? Oh, A.D. Hope. Why not? Because I like A.D. Hope. And I'm always interested in learning a new A.D. Hope poem. Collected poems, 1930 to 1970. Published by Angus and Robertson. This version, 1972. First one in 1966. Random. Oh, okay. Flicking through. Just there's some really long poems here, and I'm trying to find something Coup de Grace by A.D. Hope. Just at that moment, the wolf, shag draws and slavering grin, steps from the property wood. Oh, what a gorge, what a gulf, opens to gobble her in, Little Red Riding Hood. Oh, what a face full of fangs, eyes like saucer at least, rolled to seduce and beguile, miss with her dimples and bangs, thinks him a handsome beast, flashes the riding hood smile. Stands her ground like a queen, velvet red of the rose, framing each little milk tooth, pink tongue peeping between, then wider than anyone knows, opens her minikin mouth, swallows up wolf in a trice, tail going down gives a flick, caught as she closes her jaw, bows all sugar and spice. Oh, what a ladylike treat. Oh, what a round of applause. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Little Red Riding Hood eats the wolf. Fantastic, fantastic. The poetry we find, hey? Now, how about I go over to some international poetry? You want some of that? Sure. All right, we'll go over here. International poetry. I want to do Cavafy. Here we are. Penguin Classics, number 43. Remember Body by C.P. Cavafy. All those useless regrets. First published in 2008. This section of poetry covers a 36-year period in Cavafy's life, 1897 to 1933, originally written in Greek. This selection is taken from the selected poems of Cavafy, translated by Avi Sharon, Penguin Classics, 2008. Pleasure. The joy and balm of my life is the memory of those hours when I found and held pleasure just as I had wished it. The joy and balm of my life is that I was able to avoid any sensual gratification that seemed routine. There we go. That's a Cavafy poem. All right, I'm going to reach down beside me here now and get some of these little pamphlets out. Here's one. So if I've got a couple of these. It's called Original Australian Verse by J. Sweeney. Now this guy was interesting because he came out to Australia and I think he only lived here for about 10 years. He travelled around on a Melbourne Star bicycle, and what he did while he was working here was publish these little books of poetry of his own and sell them for $1. Who says there ain't no money in poetry, hey? We've got to be careful. It says, Original Australian Verse by J. Sweeney, copyright. This little book of simple verse, interesting if not thrilling, surely worth its modest cost. Just half price at $1. And there's, oops, the cover's just fallen off. There's a picture of him. So you've got to be a bit gentle with these. I do have another copy, but it's probably just as brittle. Anyway, so let me be gentle. Well, let's begin with the beginning. Old Man Murray. It'll be about the Murray River. 3,000 miles it glides along by homestead, farm and town, and many a murmuring waterfall by ragged scrublands brown. To sleep and rest my weary limbs I oft times stretched at ease, where the Murray willows gently away every whispering breeze. Near the little town of Wentworth, a lovely scenic place, the old man hugs the darling in a lingering long embrace. Submerged knee deep, the gum trees stand in the overflow, while the Murray meets the darling and together south they go. He's regarded as a rebel that cannot be subdued. He's no respect for boundaries in his wild, expanding mood. I've seen him very tranquil and his placid waters low, and also rise in anger till the valleys overflow. I've often roamed the Murray banks to rest me after toil, and sat beneath the welcome shade to watch the billy boil. To me a joy that night and day I seem to see them still, the stately swans that sail upon the Murray by Swan Hill. I'm getting old and weary, soon the last lap will be run, but the Murray banks will be explored by thousands neath the sun, and light again the campfires gleam. Old time songs are heard, but time and space will not efface the memories Murray stirred. Old Man Murray by James Sweeney. Rightio, I'll pop that one away. I've got one in front of me here, one of my own. Where will we go? Let's go into a... Alright, grab a random Banjo Patterson book. There's so many up there and you've got to get a random one because you don't know where you're getting, what you're getting. Hard Luck by Banjo Patterson. I left the course, and by my side there walked a ruined tout, a hungry creature, evil-eyed, who poured this story out. You see, he said, there came a swell to Kensington today, and if I picked the winners well, a crown at least he'd pay. I picked 3 winners straight, I did. I filled his purse with pelf, and then he gave me half a quid to back one for myself. A half a quid to me he cast. I wanted it indeed. So help me Bob, for 2 days past I haven't had a feed. But still I thought my luck was in, I couldn't go astray. I put it all on little Min and lost it straight away. I haven't got a bite or bed. I'm absolutely stuck. So keep this lesson in your head, don't overtrust your luck. The folks went homeward near and far. The tout went, oh, where was he? Ask where the empty boilers are. beside the circular key. Hard Luck by Banjo Patterson. All right, and we've got to do a Henry Lawson. We've got to keep it balanced, don't we? I guess. The poetical works of Henry Lawson, published by Angus and Robertson in, oh goodness gracious me, 1979. Here we go. The Bush Girl. You want to hear the Bush Girl? No. Yeah, right. The Bush Girl. So, you rode from the range where your brothers select, through the ghostly grey bush in the dawn. You rode slowly at first, lest a heart should suspect that you were so glad to be gone. You'd scarcely the courage to glance back at her by the homestead receding from view, and you breathed with relief as you rounded the spur, for the world was a wide world to you. Grey eyes that grow sadder than sunset or rain, found heart that is ever more true. Firm faith that grows firmer, for watching in vain shall wait by the slip rails for you. Ah, the world is a new and a wide one to you, but the world to your sweetheart is shut, for a change never comes to the lonely bush girl from the stockyard, the bush and the hut. And the only relief from its dullness she feels is when ridges grow softened and dim, and away in the dusk to the slip rails she steals to dream of past meetings with him. Do you think where in place of bare fences, dry creeks, clear streams and green hedges are seen, where the girls have the lily and rose in their cheeks and the grass in midsummer is green? Do you think now and then in the whirl of the city while London is new, of the hut in the bush and the freckle-faced girl who is eating her heart out for you? Grey eyes that are sadder than sunset or rain, bruised heart that is ever more true, fond faith that is firmer for trusting in vain, she waits by the slip rails for you. The Bush Girl by Henry Lawson. Wow, that's interesting. Ooh, I found a poem here by Myra Sweeney. It's like an epitaph, and it's just fallen out of the back of this book. Wow. Wow. It says Valerie Joyce Cook Nee Adams, 14th of the 4th, 42, to the 2nd of the 11th, 89. I'm going back to New England, to the place that's always been home. I'm leaving Curry forever and never again will I roam. Soon I'll be back in the mountains and the magpies will wake me at dawn. I'll open the door to the sunshine and the smell of a fresh country morn. I will walk by the creeks and the gullies and sit there beneath the tall trees. With freedom and peace all around me, my cares will all blow away in the breeze. The scent of the wattle will drift down the hills and the jackass will laugh with glee. My mind will rest and my heart will be free, and the robins will sing especially for me. The noise of the traffic will be far away, and the pace will slow down for me. I will leave the dark clouds behind and take home the sunshine with me. Myra Sweeney, Gyra. Well, that's amazing that should fall out of the back of this book here. But I am in Gyra at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. In Gyra. Yeah. Wow. And Myra Sweeney, yeah, she was a local Gyra poet. Fantastic. All right, we're just going to duck over here. Let's have a look over here. What else have we got? We've got a bit of colonial poets, bush poets, children's poets down there. We got our First Nations poets over here. Who are we going to choose out of their new and selected poems? What about Kevin Gilbert? Why not? Kevin Gilbert, yeah. Let's put the camera back there. And here we go. There's one here. Here we go. So, yeah, let's acknowledge that we are on banned by Kamilaroi land here in Gyra. Sovereignty's never been ceded. And as we do, like the last one, the one of Judith Wright we read about like the Aboriginal people jumping off, or being driven off a cliff. I shouldn't say jump, they didn't do it willingly, they were driven off. Let's be honest. And now, Kevin Gilbert here, The Black Side, People Are Legends, and Other Poems. Well, I could do People Are Legends, but, all right, let's do People Are Legends. We'll do two by Kevin. This was published by Highland House in 1990, and Kevin has passed now. Actually, that's him up there behind me on the wall. People Are Legends. Kill the legend, butcher it with your acute cynicisms, your paternal superfluities, with your unwise wisdom. Kill the legend, obliterate it with your atheism, your fraternal hypocrisies, with your primal urge of miscegenation. Kill the legend, devalue it with your sophistry, your baseless rhetoric, your lusting material concepts, your groundless dissension. Kill it, vitiate the seed, crush the root plant. All this and more you must needs do in order to form a husk of a man to the level and in your own image. White man. Next one, birth control for blacks. Don't you take that pill, he tells me. Don't you listen to them whites. They're out to kill us, race-wise, just to save themselves some fights. Remember how they tried to kill us? Poisoned flower with the gun. Now they're out to get old Jackie while he's at his bit of fun. How he bores me as he beds me. Now, if I could change their luck, I'd make every man among 'em have a baby, every fuck. Soon we'd see 'em every morning like a boar pig at its swill, swallow trough loads while they're singing hallelujah for the pill. Yeah. Good old Kevin. Very honest. All right. One by myself. I could do the one in front of me. So I'm not crawling anymore. I picked myself up and I took a couple of teeter-tottering steps, I gained my balance and I tumbled and I fell over. But I'm not crawling anymore because I picked myself up and I pulled myself up on the coffee table and I stood there and I looked about and everyone was smiling because I picked myself up. And I'm not crawling anymore. I was standing there smiling, all proud of myself, and I saw them all standing there smiling. I turned around and I started to walk to them because I just wanted to be with them because they looked so happy, and me standing there smiling and watching them smile, making them smile. I just wanted to make them smile more. So I took a few teeter-totter steps and I fell over. And they went, ah. But I didn't hurt myself. I just kind of rolled and I picked myself up again. I was crawling, but slowly again and again, picked myself up and I picked myself up and again, and I got to my mum and my dad. I'm not crawling anymore. No, I can run. Yeah, and I'm not drowning anymore. I can swim like a fish. Well, I was cold. I shivered. The wind blew. And I got in. And once I got in, it was so funny. Oh, I laughed and they laughed. And I got used to the water. And I go to swim every day and I practice a bit more. And I'm not crawling anymore. No, I can walk and I'm a good walker and I can toddle and I can run and I'm not drowning, yeah, and I can do dog paddle and I can keep my head above the water, and I'm not crawling anymore. I'm running and I'm swimming, not just toddling and dog paddling, and I can do freestyle, proper overarms and breathe on the other side, on both sides actually, and I can swim 50 metres just underwater. And I'm smiling and they are smiling and I got a certificate. Echuca, Meeting of the Waters, Swimming Club. But it doesn't mean anything. It's just a bit of paper because now I do breaststroke and backstroke and butterfly. I do backstroke really well. I'm not drowning anymore and I can dive in and swim freestyle really fast and I can win a race. I put my head up and look around and everyone's doing breaststroke and everyone's laughing at me because I did freestyle. And I'm laughing too because I'm not drowning anymore. I'm not crawling anymore. I can run really fast and I can run a long way. It takes me 22 seconds to run 100 metres. Well, I'm not a fast sprinter. I might be last, but I can run. I'm not crawling anymore. I can run really far and fast and up mountains and down in the king of the mountain. Slip, snap. Ah, fuck. Jeez, that ankle. I'll finish this. I don't need training wheels anymore because I can run and swim and ride and surf, and I can swim for over an hour, and I can hold my breath, and I can dive under the waves. I can hold my breath for a really long time, and swim 50 metres. I can swim with the fish. I'm not dive under the waves and body surf in the tube, and I'm not crawling anymore. I'm laughing. They're laughing. And I just want to make them laugh more. I'm not crawling anymore. I'm not walking anymore. I'm marching and running and slugging it out. I'm going uphill and down and around bends and up and down another hill and up and over mountains. And there are trees everywhere, and I just keep on going. And I have a drink of water. And I'm not crawling anymore. I'm running. I can run far and fast for hours. I can jump over things and crawl through mud and tunnels with water and mud, but I'm not crawling anymore. I can swing on ropes and monkey bars and climb trees and jump over fences and swim through ice and water pools and electric shocks up to my waist in mud, jump off cliffs into the water, walk 100 kilometres in 24 hours and hold my breath and swim 50 metres underwater, and I dive through tunnels with mud, swim with dolphins and sharks. I'm smiling, I'm running, I'm thriving, I'm not crawling anywhere, and I'm not drowning anymore. We're not crawling anymore. I'm flying. So I'm Not Crawling Anymore by Thundercloud Repairian. That's me. All right, well, that's a bit about, this is a bit of my journey, because I'm a bit of a fit old fella. Not old, I'm a fit fella. And I've swum most of my life, and I've always done sort of different challenges and that. And the biggest challenge that I'm currently facing is this place here, keeping this place going and making it fantastic, and setting up for this weekend for the New South Wales Bush Poetry Championship and Performance Championship, and welcoming a heap of poets here to Guyra. And so get here this weekend. It's going to be amazing. Thursday workshops here. Come and hear. Friday workshops here from Bill Kearns, Ray Essery, Robin Sykes and Tom McElveen. Yeah, it's going to be amazing all weekend. And the Rhymers Variety Show, that's on Saturday night. The Guyra Poets show on on Friday, and heaps of stuff. Check out the program on the website australianpoetry.halloffame.com.au and on our Facebook page, etc., etc. Yes. All right. Well, let's do one more before we finish. Let's do a random one out of the... Oh, where's my favourite book? My most favourite book is the Australian Poets 1788 to 1888. It's actually the first book that I bought on the way driving here to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame to open it when I was moving from Nimbin, and I stopped in Glen Innes at Badger's Books and I said, well, have you got a poetry section? He said, yeah, and then, I found this one, and it's like 1788 to 1888, the first 100 years of colonisation. So, yeah, let's go random here, random. Someone I've never done before. The Publican's Daughter by Robert Seeley. According to Mr. Barton, born in Ireland in 1831, Robert Seeley went out to New South Wales in 1852, so he would have been 21. Become one of the first scholars of the Sydney University, went into the civil service. Just going to mark this page. Went into the civil service, became a clerk in the Colonial Secretary's office, died in 1862, so that means he lived to the age of 31. Goodness gracious, very young. That was like what happened to people back then, I guess. In 1859, published a small volume entitled Scraps, a collection of miscellaneous pieces, principally in verse, nearly all humorous. So there's either The Cabman's Philosophy, well, The Publican's Daughter is the one I'm going to read to you. By Robert Seeley, The Publican's Daughter. Than the beer which she served, her complexion was clearer. Than the price which she charged for that beer, she was dearer. And stronger than spirits, for spirits they water, was my love for fair Ellen, the publican's daughter. Oh, why did she add to my score on the shutter and tell me to pay and be something or other? I saw at a glance she was not what I thought her, for falser than fair was the publican's daughter. Alas, that another my pewter is filling, that she charged 1 and 4pence instead of a shilling. Alas, that she cheated, alas, that I caught her, and alas for my love for the publican's daughter. No, she ripped him off. Yeah, she overcharged him. That's funny. Well, look at that. There's a pile of books there that I'm going to have to add to the description down there. Well, it's been wonderful doing poetry for you here, Chillin Tuesday, because I didn't get to do it last Tuesday, because, yeah, apologies, I was down there at the Armidale Poets meeting, which is on the first Tuesday of the month at the Grand Hotel in Armidale at 7 o'clock. So if you live in Armidale and you're into poetry and you want to go along and listen or read out your poetry, something you've written or something that someone else has written, go to the Armidale Poets, 7 o'clock on the first Tuesday of the month at the Grand Hotel in Armidale. Other events that are happening, well, every Wednesday, there's Wednesday Words, open mic poetry night here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. You're always welcome to come along and watch. Grab a bite to eat in the Seahorse Medicine Cafe before we kick off and enjoy the night. And don't forget, come along this weekend to the New South Wales Bush Poetry Championship. Hey, and if you go on our website, see this cool cup? It's an Australian Poetry Hall of Fame cup there. There's a selection of them on the website. Yes, there is. AustralianPoetryHallOfFame.com.au and go to the store bit. And there's also an Etsy store selling them as well. And yeah, check it out. Also check out meanwhileinaustralia.com, where there's also another store that supports the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, so you can buy some of our merchandise for bush poetry, etc. and poetry. Yeah, support Australian poetry because it's important. You know, it's important. There's some fantastic stuff in there. Amazing. Yeah. Okay. I'm Thundercloud. I'm going to like whoosh off because I've got to upload this video, go to bed and get my beauty sleep so I stay beautiful. Yeah. I'll see you later. Boom, boom. Yeah. It's not boom because like that's like, it's not, it's boom. Boom, it's not like boom. Boom's like sudden, you know. And Basil Brush, he always went boom, boom. Yeah, and he was English, and like we speak English, so he would know. Boom. See you later.